Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Jody Anderson-Duquette with WorkCamperNews, and today we're going to go through your questions about the work camping and RVing lifestyle. Now, I've been with WorkCamperNews about 16 years. WorkCamperNews is actually owned by my family. My parents and my husband and myself work in the business along with 4 other support staff. And we have been helping great people find great jobs in great places since 1987. So we work with work campers as well as the businesses that employ work campers. So we have a lot of experience working with both parties. I myself am an RVer, and I'm a work camper when I'm out traveling in my RV and still working for the business. So I'm a work camper too, even though I haven't taken any of the typical work camping positions yet. So thanks everyone for joining us live on this webinar. I see we've got some folks who are here live. We're also recording this, so if you're watching the recording, appreciate you taking the time. Now, we had quite a few questions submitted ahead of time. That'll probably take up most of our time today. I usually try to keep these at about an hour. But those of you who are online live with us, if you do want to type in your thoughts or any other questions that you have, please feel free. You should have a control panel there on your screen if you're on a desktop or laptop computer. In there should be a chat or questions section. If you're on a smartphone or tablet, you'll have that questions option down at the bottom of your screen. If you are on a smartphone or tablet, you can either see my smiling face here and waving hands, or if you just swipe on your screen, you'll be able to swipe between me and the PowerPoint. As I did go ahead and put together a little PowerPoint with the questions that are on it. So again, we're recording this, and so everyone who registered will receive a link to the recording as well. And we put most of our recorded webinars up on the WorkCamperNews YouTube channel, so feel free to check that out. Now, some of you maybe are members of WorkCamperNews already, and so you're maybe familiar with our website and the services that we offer, but some of you may not be. So like I said, WorkCamperNews, Workamper.com, we created and trademarked the term work camping many years ago now. We are a membership organization that provides the easiest toolkit for finding the right work camping jobs for you. When you utilize our services, you're using a custom, secure, and frequently updated website and service. And we do have normal office hours. You're welcome to email or call us with questions that you guys have at any time, whether it be about using our membership tools or just the lifestyle in general. We are very happy to help. So with WorkCamperNews membership, again, we have job finding tools. We have the most job listings that you'll find anywhere and the easiest way to get through and look at all of them. We have our magazine that we do. It's a bi-monthly magazine. Maybe you've seen one passed around the campground here or there around. So our magazine's online, and we also do still physically print and mail that out. That has job listings in it as well. And so multiple avenues that we have for getting into job listings. I won't go through telling you all the different things because it really is a lot. But one thing that we like to focus on is helping you guys find the right job for you. So that's why we do have the employer review tools. So when you see an ad come in on the hotline, if a work camper has written a review about that work camping experience, you can just click a link to go and read that review. We also have a big focus on education, and that's partly why we're doing these webinars too. The more confidence you guys have, the more you know about what you're supposed to do and when, and it's just going to work out better for you in the long run. So we have tons of videos, articles, as well as online courses at workcamper.com to help you prepare for this lifestyle, know what to do and when, so that way you are just more likely to have a really awesome time and find the right opportunities that are a match for you. And then just the community. We do have, social media community, as well as some tools on our website to connecting with other work campers, as we know we can learn a lot from each other as well. So if you haven't yet, please go over to workcamper.com. Again, we are a yearly membership organization, but for everything that's provided, it's really a minimal yearly fee. Our diamond level is our most popular level. That's $47 for 1 year. We do have a free 30-day trial, so you're welcome to check it out so you can scope it all out before becoming a yearly member. If all you're interested in is just looking at job listings, we do offer all of our job listings for free, but they will be on a delayed basis, so you won't have first crack at them. So, all right, that's enough about that. Let's get into your guys' questions here. Now, those of you who register, it kind of runs the gambit. Some of you are just thinking about Workamping for your future. Some of you are really close to getting started. Some of you have already started. So if some of the questions are a little, oh, I've been there, done that, sorry, but we're kind of covering all the bases here. So multiple questions came in. How do I find a job? What's the best way to find good jobs and make sure the employers are legitimate? So obviously, I'm a little biased in this question, but the best way to find a job is to become a member of workamper.com and utilize the tools. Again, you're going to have access to the most job listings, and we're the only professional service out there. So when employers run ads with us, it does cost them. And so spammers aren't going to pay for ads. So the ads coming through our system are not going to be spam or pirates or people trying to steal your information, etc. Other resources that are online that are completely free for everyone on the internet to use, I would just be a little more cautious. If you do see a job listing and respond to it, maybe do a little research and make sure that company exists and see if some of the information on their website matches what you're seeing and whatever their posting is, just to make sure you really are communicating with that business. We have had people who have taken other employers' ads and tried to create an account and run ads, but they changed the contact information. And so since we review every job listing before it goes through, we catch those kinds of things and don't let them do that. So anyway, so just again, doing your due diligence, and if you are utilizing the free resources out there, it's a lot harder to search. You don't necessarily know when that ad was posted, if it was recent, if it was last year, etc. So just be a little cautious when using those other resources that are out there. You just don't want to share too much information. So again, finding a job. So what we recommend, we do kind of have a 12-step process that we recommend. We do have a video in the media library at workamper.com where I go through that in detail. As you guys listen to this, you'll see I'm never short on words about things. So 12 steps to finding a job, basically you kind of just need to start out by reviewing the different opportunities that are out there, and then thinking about what it is that you like to do, what you don't like to do, and what kind of your goals are for your RV lifestyle that you want to have. Do you want to move around more frequently? Are you okay wanting to be in one place for a longer period of time? And knowing what your budget is. How much money do I need to earn each month to cover, my basis? Do I have, loans I need to pay off, or do I just need to cover my general, expenses? Do I want to put money away and save more for something, etc. So kind of setting a budget for yourself and knowing financially what you need to make sure that you're comfortable and taken care of. So you're going to review the different listings that are out there, know your needs and wants, and you'll put your resume together, which I know sometimes it's like, what? People haven't written a resume maybe in 20 or more years, and so that can seem a little daunting. At workamper.com, we do have a resume builder tool. It takes you step by step through creating a resume geared towards Workamping. And so we try to make it super easy. There is a section where you can kind of type up stuff about yourself. We even provide a sample in there that you're welcome to model off of. So we try to make it easy for you guys. And also when building a resume in our system, it is secure. So when you create your resume in the resume builder, you can have it out in our database, but only our yearly employer members can access our database. It's not open to the internet. Not every Joe Schmo, bot, and pirate can seep in and find, your contact information and things like that. So the resume is secure. So employers will search the database to find Workampers, pull up the resume. If they like what they see, they'll reach out and contact the Workamper. You can also send out your resume. We have the ability to print the resume if you are maybe going to physically go talk to an employer in person. You can email your resume out or export it into a PDF file, as some employers do have online application processes. So, You're going to review job listings, think about what you may want to do, where you want to go, kind of what your settings are as far as how many hours you want to work and if you want to be in a place for a long period of time, etc. You're going to get your resume together, and then you're ready to kind of start the communication process. So you'll begin reaching out to employers and starting to make those connections. And you'll likely schedule interviews. You want an employer to, be able to give you some time to get your questions answered so you know what you're getting into. So we definitely recommend creating a list of questions ahead of time before that interview takes place. And you want to have that list with you when doing the interview, which might be a phone interview, it might be like a webcam internet call. Occasionally it could be in person, but that, usually you guys are a few hundred or 1,000 miles apart, so that's a little less likely to happen. But with that interview, you want to make sure you get all your questions answered, so there are no surprises, hopefully, when you do go to that position, if you accept that position. And you just need to know those things to know if it's going to be right for you. If the RV site is completely treed over, but you use satellite TV and you really have to, you really want to watch your games every weekend or whatever it may be, that site's not going to work for you. You need to, find something else. Or, maybe the employer is like, well, I want you to work this many hours, but if we get busy enough, I would like you to work additional hours. Maybe I'll pay you more for those hours. But you're like, I really want to keep it to this many hours a week. Or there might be some deal breakers for you, and you may not know what those deal breakers are until you are asking those questions during the interview process. So we do have some lists of recommended questions on our website in our article index, and we do have a video about preparing for an interview and interviewing, as well as a video about work agreements. And a work agreement is something that you will, hopefully the employer will offer one, or you should request one. So once you've, decided, I like this employer, I want to move forward and accept this position, then you want to have that work agreement written that lays out the details of what you and the employer are agreeing to, your start date, your end date, your hours, duties, RV site compensation, those kinds of things. And get that all in writing and have both parties sign it. And it's not necessarily like a contract, written in stone. If something would come to litigation, it may not hold up in court or whatever, which I don't know that has ever really happened anyway in the community. But it's a communication tool that you'll have. So if you get to the opportunity and things have changed and are not going how you expected to, you have that work agreement to then communicate with your superiors to say, hey, this is what we agreed to. It's not going as planned. What can we do to either find a compromise or get back on track, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of the Cliff's Notes version there of getting started with finding a job. But again, we go into more detail on that in our other video that we have. But it's kind of just like anything else too when you are researching employers. Like I said, we have reviews on our website that you can read where campers have shared about what their experience was like, so that can give you an idea. But you'll also want to do just some, general internet searching on that business. Check them out on Google, on Yelp if they're on Yelp, Facebook reviews. There's lots of avenues that customers can use to leave reviews on businesses anymore. So research all those avenues as well. You can post in work camping related Facebook groups. Hey, anybody work for XYZ employer? Just want to know about it. You can also use our member map tool. So with our member map tool, WorkCamper members can put a pin in the map and say, I'm at XYZ location. And you can say if you're okay to be contacted or not contacted. So if you want to go work for an employer that's in, a certain city state, you can look that city state on the member map, see if any work campers are there, and hopefully reach out to those work campers and say, hey, do you happen to be working for, ABC employer? I just had some questions about how that's going. So that's kind of another way to connect with work campers to see what their experience was like. And as we know, everybody kind of has different preferences and attitudes and personalities. So sometimes if you do read reviews, whether it's from a customer or another work camper, it maybe just didn't work for them because of personality clashing or because something wasn't right based on their own preferences. So sometimes you got to kind of read between the lines, and if things sound like they're going to be right for you, but it wasn't for that work camper, you know, maybe give it a try. Sometimes you read it and you're like, oh, this is probably not a good situation for anybody, and that does happen sometimes. So, but you do want to just make sure you're doing that due diligence and being thorough in your research. Again, you don't want to have any surprises when you are heading out to that work camping opportunity, and you want to have a good time, and the employer wants you to have a good time and be a benefit to their business. So, all right, I think I kind of covered that pretty well. Again, we've got more information on our website if you want to dig more into that question. Okie dokie. Advice on getting a good position for the winter months. So this is a good question. And one thing that work campers should note is that you never know when that perfect work camping opportunity is going to be made available. So we have employers that just advertise via our hotline system. We have some employers that just advertise in our magazine. Some just do maybe a featured employer page, or they've done an episode of our podcast, etc. And some employers, you know, might advertise on all the things on the internet, and some might just use us, some might just use some other website. So you just never know when the opportunity is going to come up. Also, we have some employers who only search our resume database to find their work campers. Employers like utilizing our system the fact that they know that work campers pay for a membership and use our services, create their resume, etc., they consider those work campers more serious and more qualified candidates. So that's something to keep in mind too, is being a member and using our resume system and stuff kind of sets you above some others sometimes, depending on the employer. So some employers will just search our resume database to find all of their work campers, and they never even advertise their jobs. So that's why it's important as a work camper to be continuously scanning the help wanted ad listings and have your resume out there and updating it frequently to keep it at the top of search results. And every employer is a little bit different. I wish I could, you know, whip them all into shape and say, you know, summer jobs are always advertised this time. Winter jobs are always advertised this time. So it was a lot easier for work campers to be like, yeah, I'm searching now. But that's not how it works. So we have so typically with work camping, there's kind of two general seasons. A lot of the opportunities, as you guys have seen, are in the outdoor hospitality industry, but there's a lot of other stuff represented. So if you're like, I really don't want to work at an RV park or campground, no worries, lots of other stuff to do, not a problem. But typically with most of the businesses that hire work campers, there's kind of two main seasons. There's a summer season, which is like April, May through September, October, and then a fall winter season, which is of course September, October through April. So those are kind of the two main seasons you're going to see advertised in the outdoor hospitality industry type jobs. But again, tons of other stuff to do if you want shorter term opportunities or kind of more outside the box timing, etc. Lots of other stuff out there for sure. But kind of just in general. So for the summer season, a lot of employers will start advertising for that summer season starting in September, October, November, December beforehand. A lot of work campers are planners. They know where they want to go next year, year after that, etc. So they want to get their positions lined up so they know they're covered. Especially now, it's a lot harder to make reservations and find RV sites in a lot of the places you want to go. So utilizing work camping can get you in an RV space in a place you want to be. Anywho, all right, so they may be recruiting 6 months before the jobs even start. Now, some employers, a little more laid back, summer season, maybe they'll wait till after the holidays. So like January, February really kind of kicks into gear for the summer season recruiting. And there are some employers yet who wait until March to hire for their jobs that start in April. And that really limits things for them, as you know, 40 to 60% of work campers usually accept their job 3 to 6 months before the start date, but that's just how they do things. If you are a work camper who's like, I'm gonna start next week, there are jobs out there for you. But if you want to open yourself up to the most opportunities and be able to really nitpick the opportunity and be like, I want to be in this place, I need to earn this kind of income, etc. If you really have some specific parameters that you want to hit, you need to be active in that job search frequently, constantly. You know, be sure you're watching that hotline email coming in each day. If you just, you know, you're not maybe necessarily looking for a job, you know, you're in your job now and you're kind of busy, but just kind of skim them. And if it's like, oh, that one looked good, you know, save that hotline email into a look at this again more closely folder or something like that. And again, keep your resume out there. You never know when employers are searching the database. That perfect employer may reach out to you and say, hey, I've got this opportunity. I think you'd be a great fit. What do you think? And then, holy cow, it's awesome. So again, we gotta keep things going. So that's why we're a yearly membership organization, because it's really important for work campers to be staying active in that hunt all the time. Sorry, like I know it's not quite as, you know, easy. We want to make things easy, and we do try to make things easy. You can set up job alerts if you are looking for a specific state. So that way you're just getting the job listings for that specific state to your email inbox. So we do try to make things a little more streamlined here at Workamper News, but it is still work to find your perfect work camping job. So back to our more specific question at hand here, getting a good position for the winter months. And what a good position is really going to depend on the person. Could be they're looking for something in the south, as a lot of things up north will close down in the winter months. But there are still opportunities in the, you know, colder parts of the country in the winter months. You don't have to go south if you don't want to. But I know a lot of our viewers, you know, would love to find that awesome job in Florida that pays for every hour worked and provides an RV site and is only maybe like 25 hours a week. And those are going to be harder to find. So again, those fall winter positions, you got to stay active. And the fall winter jobs are most often advertised kind of in the summer months. We're seeing a little bit of it now. I know we're kind of here at the end of April, so we are seeing some fall winter opportunities being advertised. It's still more so summer season positions, but those will, you know, start to fall off, and we'll see more of the fall winter opportunities coming in here in the summer months. So I would always begin your search, you know, at least 6 months ahead of when you want that start date to be, and just keep at it. Keep watching, keep looking. And I know some work campers too will consider accepting a position in the south, maybe a warmer part of Texas or in Florida or Arizona, etc., for the summer months, because then that gives them kind of first dibs at the winter season opportunities that employer has. If you're working for that employer and you're doing a great job and you want to stay through the winter, they're like, great, you're already trained, awesome, let's keep you on board. So it's easier to slide into those winter season positions. So if there is something that you're really, you know, jonesing, a place you want to be, or a certain, you know, position or something you want to do, you may want to endure a summer season at that location just to get in on the winter opportunities. So something to think about there. Lots of operations in Texas right now, especially looking for help for the summer. And then if you love it there, you know, it'll be even nicer in the winter time while you're there. So, alrighty. Let's go to the next one here. Okay. Are there opportunities from Memorial Day to Labor Day? I believe this person said they were a teacher, and so that was the time frame that they are available. And yes, definitely. Again, a lot of employers, like I said, for the summer season, want you April, May through September, October. If your season is a little bit more truncated maybe than what their full season is, sometimes that's okay. They can work with you on that. Or there are opportunities if you're willing to just work in trade for an RV site. Maybe you don't necessarily need to have wages paid for hours worked. Then that opens the door to a lot more volunteer positions, working for like government campgrounds, maybe nonprofits, historical societies, places like that. Those places will often have a little more flexibility on the length of time that the work camper is there for. And so just keep plugging away and just keep an eye out. And if an opportunity is advertised and you're like, this sounds great, except for when it starts and ends, reach out to that employer anyway and be like, hey, I am going to be a super awesome work camper for you, but I can't come until this date and I need to leave by this date because I'm a teacher and I have other obligations. So just be sure to be upfront with what your situation is. Again, you don't want to have any surprises or frustrations coming up. So just being upfront is going to be the best way to do that. And if they say, no, sorry, we really can't be flexible, then you know that wasn't the opportunity for you, and then you can move on and find something else. But I think one of the shortest term opportunities I think I've seen, Colorado State Parks, at least one of their state parks is offering like a 4-day, if you want to just do 4 days volunteering and trade for a site. So I think that might be the shortest one, but there's also like the Houston Rodeo hires work campers, the Albuquerque International Hot Air Balloon Festival, they utilize work campers, I think like for parking and stuff like that. So those types of events obviously are shorter run events. The Houston Rodeo is pretty long, but some of the events are shorter that utilize work campers, so that would be a short period of time. Like NASCAR racetracks, I haven't seen them advertise in a while, but they used to advertise for work campers for like the races and stuff, just to help with, you know, managing all the people coming to the races. So there are going to be some shorter, real short-term stuff out there and available for you. The sugar beet harvest is a really popular opportunity for work campers. It takes place in like September, October, November, depending upon the location. But it could be as short as 10 days. If the weather is like primo for the beet harvesting, 10 working days. It's usually 9 to 12-hour shifts, depending upon which company you're working for. And you get boku bucks and you're done and you move on. And that's working at the receiving stations. You're not working in the fields or anything. So it's a physical job, but it's not like crazy labor. It's light industrial is what they call it. So anyway, the sugar beet harvest is a really good short-term opportunity. But there's also like year-round stuff. So if you you're like, I want to find something and be somewhere for a long period of time. Obviously, employers would love to hire someone, and if things go well, they'd love for you to stay. So there's year-round, long-term opportunities available, and kind of everything in between. That's what's so awesome about work camping is there's so many different things out there to do and different types of compensation and lengths of time, etc., that, you know, it really can fit in a lot of people's, you know, boxes that they want to check off and stuff. So it's pretty awesome. But one thing I was going to share with you guys too. So let me click over here to this. Okay, so this is something that we're working on. It's not live yet. I'm hoping to make it active next month. But it's still a work in progress. So we are creating the most robust search criteria for work campers to search job listings. So on our Hotlines jobs page, we have the last 14 days of ads that have come into our system. And so coming soon, work campers will be able to, you know, check any states that they want to be in. They'll be able to check if they want an RV site or if they need other housing, as there are some employers that do provide housing, whether it be dormitory, apartment, maybe like a park model on site, a variety of different housing. So that's going to be an option. If you do need all hours paid that you're worked, you'll be able to sort for that. Other compensation would be like bonuses, tips, commissions, stipends, etc. If you want no monetary compensation, meaning all I want to do is work and trade for my RV site and other perks because I don't want to have any income reported to me, we can search for that too. Then you'll be able to search for when the job starts. As most of the time, you know, you guys know, like our teacher friend here, she's available to start in May. So I could select May, maybe I'll select June because for sure I'll be in June too. So that's when the job will start. We can search for that. If you are a solo work camper, you'll be able to check this box to then only see the ad listings where the employer says they will consider solos for their operation. We'll still have the keyword search option available, so you could search for maybe a specific position or location or any kind of thing there. Then you can sort your results by date that it was posted, or by state, if you want to organize it by state, if you've selected multiple states, and then either make those ascending or descending, and do the search like that. So this is going to be the most robust way for work campers to search through job listings anywhere. Nobody else has done this, is doing this, and like I said, we have the most job listings that you'll find anywhere. So this is going to be a very powerful tool for you guys, especially those of you who have, you know, some specific things that you're looking for. It's going to be awesome. I'm really excited about it, and I hope you guys will be too. So the Hotline Jobs website page is available to our Diamond and Platinum members. And so as soon as we go live with that, you guys will let you know in the hotline and other media that we use to post information. So that's coming soon. Super excited about that. So that's going to help those of you who have kind of these more specific questions find those opportunities that are more likely to be a match. Okay, so let's hop over to a question here about, oops, sorry, didn't mean to click that, guys. Okay, all right. What do you look for when buying an RV? And this is definitely a broad question. And it's really a personal question. And it could be that this question is more so, maybe they're thinking, as we've had this question a lot of times before, is what kind of RV do I need to have as a work camper? And so the answer is always, you need to get the RV that is right for you. Don't get an RV because you'll think employers will like it or other people will like it or whatever. You need to buy what is within your budget and your financial means, what you can handle physically and are prepared to maintain, and also what you like, what feels comfortable for you, what's going to work for you, whether you're a couple, a family, a solo, whether you've got one pet or 12 pets, whatever it is. If you want 2 bathrooms or 1 bathroom, maybe you want slides, maybe you don't want slides. If you want to go motorized or, you know, not motorized, and if you do go motorized, are you going to tow a vehicle so you have, you know, a car or a small SUV to drive around so you don't have to unhook your motorhome every time you need to go to the grocery store? Do you want to do a towable? That means you're going to need a pretty beefy truck or SUV to pull that towable. Are you okay driving that truck around when the trailer's dropped off and you're somewhere? So there's really a lot of factors. So you need to just start looking at different RVs, you know, watch some videos on YouTube of people who picked RVs and talked about why they picked their RV. It's really just a personal question. And this question here may also gear towards, you know, what to look for, like technically or mechanically, and it's really tough. There are, you know, some work campers, some RVers out there that are like, oh, this brand is better than this brand, or you should never buy this manufacturer, you should always buy this manufacturer. But RVs are RVs. Whether it's brand new or 20 years old, stuff's gonna go wrong. You just need to plan for that and accept that. It's just part of it. And so, you know, it's tough. We've had a 40-foot fifth wheel, a 30-foot Class C motorhome, and now we have a 27-foot travel trailer. So we've had 3 different RVs in the 12 years or whatever we've been RVing. And so, like, our 40-foot fifth wheel, we had friends who had the exact same fifth wheel. It was a Forest River Cedar Creek 38 FL, front living room, bedroom was in the back. Loved it, loved this fifth wheel. And we had some problems. Pretty much everything that kind of went wrong, my husband was able to handle and take care of. But our friends that had the exact same year, model, everything, just had tons of problems. And they had to take it to the dealer all the time, and stuff just went wrong with it all the time. So it's just really kind of a luck of the draw kind of thing sometimes. But one thing that you can do to help out and just be more confident about what you are purchasing, if you have narrowed it down to maybe 1 or 2 units, have those babies inspected. There are RV inspectors all around the country now. There's an organization called the National National RV Inspectors Association, and they certify people to be RV inspectors. And it's just like getting a home inspection when you buy a sticks and bricks house. It's just like that. There are different levels of inspections that you can purchase, and that, so how in-depth it gets. And so that inspector will go out and do the inspection and then provide you a report of things that they found that are of concern. And so then you can a little more confidently move forward with, okay, we're gonna, get this unit, but I'm gonna talk with the dealer or talk with the owner and have them fix these things before buying it, or however you wanna work that. So I believe it's nrvia.org is the website you can go to. They have like a inspector finder tool that you can utilize to find inspectors. So definitely check that out and consider getting an inspection. We definitely did that before purchasing our last 2 RVs, and made us feel a lot better going forward, because we know a lot about RVs, but not everything. And they definitely found some stuff that we would have not found ourselves in inspecting it. And sometimes you're going to be far away. Like the trailer that we were buying, we were purchasing in Texas, and we're in Arkansas. And so that was, an 8-hour drive. And so we actually didn't physically see the trailer before we went to buy it and pick it up. So it was even more important for us to have that inspector out there to see it in person and touch and do all the things. So if you are, researching an RV that's hundreds, if not 1,000 or more miles away, definitely consider getting that inspection done. But, try all the things. If you can, have them get it hooked up to some hookups so you can run water, have full power to it to test the TV and the fridge and the air conditioner, and hopefully they got some propane. You can test the furnace if it's a propane furnace. Just play with all the things, move the slides in and out. And that's something too, a lot of times on dealership lots, they'll have all the units with the slides out. And be sure to bring those slides in so you know what that unit is like with the slides in, because you may fall in love with it with the slides out and you're like, oh, this is so great. And you don't think to put the slides in and be like, oh, I can't even get to my bathroom when the slide is in. That's not gonna be good, kind of stuff like that. So be sure to bring those slides in so you get the full effect of what that RV is like. So, all right, hopefully that gives you some good tips for that. Okay, next question up. Is it safe for women to RV or work camp alone? Again, this is a question you kind of have to answer for yourself, but in general, I would say yes. We have lots of solo work campers out there, and more often they are female versus male. I don't know if that's just because ladies tend to outlive gentlemen, maybe, I don't know. But absolutely, there are tons of solo lady RVers out there, and there's multiple organizations as well geared towards the lady RVer. So online, check out Girl Camper. That's a really kind of newer, really great group to be a part of. Let's see, I think, is it WOW? No, it's like Women on Wheels or something. I'm sorry, guys, I should have. We have at workamper.com. In the top right, there's a connect option. And so if you mouse over connect, it'll drop down a menu. And in that menu is recommended resources. And so check out that page. We have lots of, we've categorized the different resources. So we've just listed some other, websites, groups, businesses that all cater to RVers or work campers. And we have them listed there. So check that out. There's multiple groups there to connect with. So yes. Definitely, I mean, unless you don't feel confident, if you don't want to let fear hold you back from doing something that you really want to do, but at the same time, if you're just going to be scared the whole time and you're not going to enjoy it, so it really just depends on who you are and how you feel about all of this. So again, find an RV that you're going to be comfortable with managing. And driving. I didn't like driving the fifth wheel. It really scared me. The Class C, I'll drive that all day, towing the car on behind it. I felt confident taking our tow car off and getting the tow bars all unbuckled and taken off. It would be difficult by myself sometimes if they get jammed up, but it could be done. And also, one super cool thing about the RVing community is that most people are super nice. So if you pull into a campground or other area where other campers are, and you're having a problem or you just need help with something, most of the time RVers are like, they're almost like sitting and waiting, like, oh, I hope that person comes and asks me for help. I'd love to chat with them and talk with them and, just be social. So definitely don't be afraid to ask other RVers, for a little assistance or advice or a cup of sugar, whatever comes up. So that's something that's really great about the RVing community. You do have a lot of support out there. So, and as far as solos finding work camping jobs, absolutely. We have lots of solos that utilize our system and their dance card is full all the time, their work camping dance card. They have to turn down jobs because they've done a great job with their resume and they're constantly communicating with employers, etc. So you can absolutely be successful as a solo work camper. Just in reviewing our job listings, over 60% of employers will consider solos for their opportunities. So there's definitely jobs out there, whether you need pay or just trade for site, etc. You can do it. Go over, if you're a fan of podcasts, check out the Workamper Show, the Workamper Show. We're in most of the podcast streaming services, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, Spotify, all of those kinds of things. So if you search for the Workamper Show in there, you'll find us. You can also just go to our website, workcampershow.com. That's our website for our podcast. We have, I think we're getting close to about 200 episodes. Each episode is an interview either with an employer, a business that hires work campers, or an RVer, work camper, or someone involved in the RV industry. So you'll find multiple interviews in there with solo work campers, and they'll share about their experience and likely give some advice and what they did and why they did it, etc. So check out that podcast for some stories from those who have come before you. But if this is your dream and this is what you want to do, let's just dig in. Get in, learn as much as you can, and that's going to help you further decide if it's right for you or not. But you can make it happen if you really want to and be successful at it. And yeah, oh, it makes me excited. All right. Okay, next up here, guys. How difficult is it to find positions that will work with families with children? Again, lots of different types of RVers and work campers out there, which is super awesome. So yes, as far as how difficult it is, it might be a smidge more difficult, but not a lot. If you're willing to work in RV parks and campgrounds, then that's going to be easier for sure. But think about, the different types of businesses that already have a lot of, and I'm assuming that families with like young children, not adult children, like young children. So maybe like, high school, middle school, elementary school, etc. So yeah, so think about the businesses that already have kind of that clientele. So obviously the campgrounds that cater to kiddos that maybe have an activities department or a big pool and a water slide and a lake and a this and a that and all that kind of stuff, you guys are going to fit right in because you're just going to blend in with all the clientele that's there already. Amusement parks might be another one. There's an amusement park in Iowa called Adventureland, and they have a campground that's like right there with the amusement park. And so there's going to be, families with kids coming in and out of that campground all year round. And so you guys are just going to fit right in with that. And just think about kind of who you are as a family. And so if you are a family that want to be remote, you're like, we don't need to be around a bunch of other families and other kids and stuff. We want to go and be, out there. Then maybe doing a working for a concessionaire for like that operate in like the national forests or national park, etc. So maybe being somewhere remote where you're maybe the only work campers there, and you're just dealing with the campers coming and going. Maybe that's going to be right up your alley. Or is that going to drive your kids crazy and they're going to be bonkers and bored and frustrated, and that's going to make you frustrated and whatever. So again, think about kind of who you are as a family, what you all like to do, what your kids like to do, etc. And find the environments that kind of match what you're looking for and wanting to do. Also, just be sure to be upfront when you're, creating your resume or doing your initial communication with an employer. Just let them know we have, X number of people in our RV, and and like if you are a two-parent household, maybe oftentimes then the parents will like alternate shifts. So one will work mornings, one will work afternoons, or something like that. Let the employer know ahead of time that you'll want to have alternate shifts. So that way parental unit's always around with the kids, one of you's always with the kids. And that's typically what employers are hoping you're gonna do. That I'm not aware of any opportunity where both of the adults could go to work while the, young kids had like a daycare scenario or something. I don't think I've seen that anywhere before. It might exist somewhere, but and maybe you have like a teenager who would watch the younger ones. Then obviously, sure, you guys both go to work at the same time. Teenager will manage the youngin, good to go. So again, you know your family and you know how you kind of need to work that. But definitely, so just be upfront in your advertisement of yourselves, and yeah, this should be good to go. Oh, and Full-Time Families is an organization that's out there for traveling families that you may want to connect with, that may have some good resources for you just for like general RV life on the road. Okay, next up, are there places that offer housing if you don't have an RV? There are, but there's not a whole lot. So in our system, like on the hotline jobs page now, obviously you'll be able to use that checkbox in the future, but right now you could just use the keyword search to search like housing or apartment or something like that to find the opportunities where the employer mentions that they do have alternate housing available. In our magazine, we place little icons at the end of the help wanted ad texts. So that way it's like a quick visual for you guys to be like, oh, okay, housing, oh, okay, this one has reviews, oh, okay, this one is this. So look for ads that have the little house at the end of the ad text, and those will be the ads where the employer mentioned they have housing. And like I kind of mentioned before, the housing might be dormitory style, it might be a house or a park model or an apartment. Maybe they have an RV on site that they let work campers stay in. It's really going to vary. So just be sure to have that communication with the employer so that way you have a full picture of what that housing is. If you have pets, that's maybe going to make it a little more challenging. Obviously with dormitories, it's pretty unlikely you're going to be able to bring your pets with you. So you would need to find housing that would be able to accommodate your pets. All right. Oh, and sometimes the housing might be provided as part of the compensation. Sometimes it might be an additional fee for the worker. It's just going to depend on the operation. Like the concessionaires that operate in the national park, they lease the dormitories and they lease the RV sites from the National Park Service. So that's why there is a minimal fee for that worker to help cover the costs that the concessionaire has to lease those living facilities for their workers. All right, so just keep that in mind. Okay, next question here. What address can I use with institutions that won't accept a mail forwarding service address? And this can definitely be frustrating. So this comes along with those who are going full-time RVing, where you will not have a sticks and bricks home anymore. And so you may utilize a mail forwarding service to assist you with setting up your domicile. And those have become more advanced than they used to, as obviously this question that's been brought up has been brought up to the mail forwarding services a lot of times. So some of the mail forwarding services offer an address that is considered a physical address for maybe a bank or your driver's license. It's usually those that don't let you have like a personal mailbox number. So just check with the mail forwarding service and inquire with them if they do offer, can I use this address on things like getting a loan or banking or insurance. It's going to depend on the institution, what they accept or not accept, and different states will have, different things they'll do with driver's licenses, etc. So there's not really kind of a one answer fits all here. Some RVers will utilize, like when we were full-time RVers for a while, we had a mail forwarding service. We just used one that was here in town, the town where we had lived before. And so that was like our address that we use on most of our mail stuff. But for like our driver's license and a couple things like that, we used my parents' house address because they still had a sticks and bricks house. So RVers could use a parent's address, maybe one of their kids' addresses, siblings' address, etc. Just for a few of those, things where the other address won't work for it. So that's an option too. Of course, get permission from that person to use the address before you use it. But that's typically what most RVers are going to do. They're going to find a forwarding service in their domicile state, or that offers domiciling in that state, that provides that physical address, or they'll just use a relative or family member's address. Okay. How do we plan for gas prices to move to the next location? So it's kind of just like budgeting for anything. Maybe you're jonesing to get a new vehicle, or you want to do something with your RV and upgrade it, or get a whole new RV. It's just budgeting away. So you may want to take a work camping opportunity that pays all hours worked, or maybe offers additional hours paid. And that's something we kind of didn't hit on too, is the different compensations available with work camping jobs. So sometimes you might be working just in trade for an RV site and other non-monetary perks. Sometimes they'll work 20 hours a week in trade for your RV site and perks, but if it's busy, we'll have other hours that you can work and we'll pay you X number of dollars for those extra hours. Or we want you to work 20 hours for your site, and then 20 more hours we also want you to work, and we're going to pay you for those. We're going to guarantee you those hours worked for pay, or we're going to pay you for every hour worked and provide the RV site and other perks as part of your compensation, or we're going to pay you for every hour worked, but you're going to pay maybe a small fee for your RV site, or you have to go find your own RV site somewhere around the business operation. Sometimes they may offer you a stipend to help you cover the cost of that RV site. What else? There are some opportunities where you're working on commission. So like the fireworks sales tents, pumpkins and Christmas tree sales tents, those you might be like, they're going to pay you a specific salary, and then you'll earn commission on the sales of your tent. So there's really quite a variety of compensation packages in the work camping realm. So that's why you kind of got to start looking through the job listings to see all the different stuff that's out there to then help you decide, like, okay, yeah, so my budget, I need to make this much money. So if you do need to save up some money, whether it be for gas prices, or maybe just making a nice little nut to cover any RV maintenance issues that comes up, or you're saving for something else, it's just about making that budget. Know what your average expenses are each month, know kind of what your fun stuff is, like how many times did we go out to eat, did I buy extra shoes or clothes or movies, or kind of things you want but don't necessarily need, that kind of stuff. So just looking at where your money is going and deciding if you can cut back on any of those things. Like I know a month or two ago, or however long it's been, when the media was all like, gas prices are crazy and they're gonna get crazier, and everybody was freaking out. RVers were just like, well, it's only gonna mean like an extra 50 bucks or 100 bucks or 150 bucks, depending upon how far they were going. So they were like, we just won't go out to dinner 2 or 3 times next month. And that covers the kind of extra cost that the higher gas prices were gonna be for them. So sometimes it's not as big of a deal as the media wants us to think it is. We just got to think about where our money's going and just kind of pull back in a couple spots, or find an opportunity that pays you more or gives you more hours for pay. Yeah, that's kind of it. That's what I got. Okay, all right. Okay, another question here. Best tax setup for 1099 jobs. I mean, that's a whole other like webinar series on its own. So first off, just to preface, I'm not an accountant. We are not accountants here at WorkCamperNews. We're not attorneys. That's not our game. So This question is going to be best answered by your tax accountant or tax professional. Or if you do want to start a small business, you may want to communicate with an attorney on that to help you with getting that set up. So thinking about this in the general work camping world, most work camping opportunities, the employer should be considering you as a W-2 employee if you're being paid monetary wages. So if they are requiring you to work specific days at specific times, they are saying, I want you to do this work, I want you to use these supplies to do the work, and I need you to get it done, I want you to wipe this way, not wipe this way, or something like that. If they're that specific if that's how the job is laid out, then you are an employee. That is not a contractor situation. A contractor situation is, I'm going to hire you to do a task. So I'm hiring you to take photos of my RV park, and I'm going to need those photos to generate into a brochure for my website. So I'm going to pay you this dollar amount, and I need you to get the job done by this date. Have at it. So the work camper uses their own camera equipment, decides when they're going to do the activity to get the job done, and then gets the job done as requested. That's more like a contractor situation. So if what an employer is telling you and is laying out specifics that they want you to follow, and then they're like, oh yeah, and then we're going to send you a 1099 at the end of the year for the income we're going to pay you. You might be like, well, but it sounds more like I'm a W-2 employee, so maybe we should revisit that. Because some employers may try, they either don't understand, because it's just going to depend, guys. Because some of these businesses are mom and pops. It's like one or two people. They're the owners and the managers and the bookkeepers and the supply orderer and the marketer, and that they're wearing all the hats. And so they may have like a general idea of how they're supposed to do things, but they really don't know all the things they're supposed to know to facilitate the business, within all the guidelines of the state and the IRS, and it can be a lot to know and can be very frustrating. Where some businesses will have their own accounting department and HR department and all of this, so they have people focused on just those kinds of things. So understand that you're going to be communicating potentially with both sides of that spectrum and then everything in between. So there may be a time where an employer is telling you, oh yeah, this is how it's supposed to go. And in your mind, you're like, I don't think that's how it's supposed to go. So then that's up to you then to be like, all right, I'm going to move forward and we'll see how this goes, or this is not going to be right. If they're not willing to treat me as an employee, which is what they're wanting me to be, then I'm not going to play that game, because I don't know if it would potentially bite you or not. Anyway, so hopefully the contractor position that you're considering, that this person is considering, it is truly going to be a contractor position. And sometimes like management positions will end up being more so like that, whether if you're managing like a campground or RV park. If you're doing the like gate guarding in Texas, those are typically contractor positions as well. And so it can be totally fine. And there's lots of work campers that work, maybe they're just operating as sole proprietorship. They've set up an LLC. Maybe there are a S Corp. The type of business entity that you should operate as is going to depend on a lot of factors. And again, that's where you need to talk to that accountant who is going to be able to look at your whole situation, what you want to do, what all the things are, and be able to direct you better as to what type of business entity you should have. Most of the time with work camping, you're going to be either a volunteer or a W-2 employee, and most of us have a general idea of that typical W-2 employee thing. So it's less of a deal. But yeah, the working as a small business basically can get a little more hairy, but lots of work campers do it. Some work campers are like, oh, it's gonna cost you way more in self-employment taxes, and you shouldn't do it, never do it. You know yourself, you know your situation. Maybe it wouldn't be the right thing for you to do. Maybe it would be the best thing for you to do. If you are, wanting ways to write off your RV or your travel expenses or equipment expenses, etc. Those may work into business expenses for your business and could potentially be more tax write-offs. So there are ways to make that small business scenario work for you and actually save you money. So anyway, again, not an accountant, so I can't say how perfectly it would work for everybody. But I myself am a small business owner. My husband and I have had multiple different business entities over the years for the different things that we've done. So it can definitely be a headache to deal with, but it can definitely save you money too, as far as taxes goes. At workamper.com, in the section called My University Courses, we do have a small business section. So my dad, Steve, he is like a serial entrepreneur and is just always going and thinking of new things and doing new things. And so he is really passionate about helping others understand the benefits of owning a small business. And so he created an online course that's really just kind of a little preview, talking about a little bit about business types, entity types, creating a business plan, and just some different things like that. So members can check out the small business course within the My University section at workamper.com. So there are other resources out there for you. All right, so that's all the questions that we got ahead of time. And we're about at an hour here, so doing pretty good. Again, workamper.com is going to be the best place for you for finding the right opportunities for you. We do our best to help you guys succeed, and we want you to succeed, and that's what we're passionate about. So definitely check out our tools and services that we have available to you. Lots of employers are looking for work campers right now. There are more jobs than there are work campers. So please definitely get in there and start responding to opportunities and find something that's going to be super awesome. What's so great about work camping is it's just a way for you guys to try new things and learn stuff and do stuff you never thought you have done before, and just continuing to be of service to others. And one of the, I think the biggest intangible benefits of work camping is the relationships and the connections that you're going to make. So whether it's coworkers or the business owners that you're working with, or other campers that you're around, other people that you're around as you're interacting in these communities in different places around the country, you're going to get to meet a lot of really cool people. And I so look forward to you guys having awesome adventures. So, all right. We did have one question come in. Those of you who are online and hanging in there with me, I appreciate you guys hanging in. I'll go ahead and stay online for a couple more minutes. If you guys do have some questions you want to submit in, feel free to type those in and I can hit a couple more questions, but we will wrap up here pretty quickly. Okay, so question here. If interested in scheduling work camping that gives us a place to stay for the winter, what suggestions do you have? We kind of talked about that a little bit already. Would it work to send paper copies of a cover letter and resume to parks I would like to stay for the winter? So this work camper is basically asking if they can cold call RV parks that they want to stay in. Absolutely, you sure can. If you do have a specific location or maybe even a specific park you stayed in as a guest, but you're like, dude, it'd be awesome if we could be there for a long period of time and get paid for being there. Maybe they hire work campers, because not all businesses know about this whole work camping thing. And so definitely spread the word. If a park doesn't yet hire work campers, then maybe you could be the first. Somebody's always going to be the first at a business. So yeah, definitely cold calling. As far as sending paper copies, that could work. I don't know if businesses, I know like the mail still exists, but so much of it's junk now. I guess if it's a place you really want to be, I would do multiple things. So if you can email them, send an email, wait a few days. If you don't hear anything, either send another email or you could do a physical mailing to them. If there's a phone number, so if you're responding to a help wanted ad specifically, I know that's different than what this person has asked, but if you're responding to a help wanted ad specifically and they don't have a phone number in their ad text, then I would exhaust the other avenues that they do mention first because maybe they don't want people calling them, okay? And some will explicitly say no phone calls. And so you definitely don't want to call those employers. So if your communication is via email, you definitely want to follow up within a few business days, and it's going to depend. Like if you are applying for a job that's starting months from now, you might give that employer maybe like a week or more to get back to you before following up again and just saying, hey, I sent you my resume, super interested in talking with you, would love to schedule some time to talk. You know, just a little quick follow-up like that. Because email is not always reliable. Stuff goes in spam, or maybe multiple people are looking at an email account and somebody deleted an email that they shouldn't have deleted, that the manager was supposed to see, but the other person deleted it. Who knows? Who knows? Anyway, so email, definitely follow up if your communication is via email. If it's an online submission process, you might do the submission process, and then if you can find an email address, go ahead and send an email maybe a few days after and be like, hey, I submitted the online process, just wanted to make sure everything came through okay. You know, you can reach me at this number anytime. If the opportunity is one where it's like an immediate opening or it's going to start in a few weeks or within the next month, then I wouldn't wait as long to follow up. Like once you do your initial inquiry, a couple business days go by, haven't heard anything, I might follow up again. If you follow up a few times in a few different ways and you're not getting any response, it's time to move on. Something about your resume or whatever wasn't matching. And there are just employers out there who do not respond to all applicants or all inquiries, which is super annoying. And we tell them it would be really great if they would do that, but sometimes they only communicate with people that they think are going to be a match and they want to move forward in the process with. And it's the same too on the Workamper side. So if you guys have your resume out there and an employer contacts you and is like, hey, I saw your resume, can we talk? And you're like, the job's not anywhere I want to be, and it's not this, and it's not this. You're like, why did they even contact me? Please email or let that employer know, like, thanks for contacting us, but based on what you've explained here, this opportunity is not going to be a match for us. Thanks. So as a Workamper, when you get inquiries, please try to respond to all of those inquiries as well. So we're all trying to play nice, is what we encourage. So you could totally send a paper copy. Maybe that would be more unique, as maybe more other people are just emailing or calling. That might help you stand out. And again, if that opportunity is months away from starting, you have a little bit more time. So you could send a card in the mail even, or your resume in the mail if you wanted to. And I wouldn't hesitate too, if you guys are somewhere, like, you know, you're just traveling for fun or just staying in a campground, like going in between two jobs or something like that. And if you're like, man, this is a really cool place, you might want to be here. Communicate with that employer, even if you're like, we wouldn't work here for a year, maybe 2 years out or whatever. See if the manager has a little bit of time to talk with you and just kind of get your foot in the door, you know, get them to take your name down, whatever. You can always be, you know, hustling, especially being able to be on site and seeing a place in person is always a good thing. So yeah, definitely reach out to parks, whether they're advertising for Workampers or not. If you think it's the place you want to be, go for it. Absolutely, I would not hesitate to do that. Awesome. All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate your attention and your questions. And if we didn't answer your question or you have more questions that you've thought of, please feel free to reach out to us anytime. Again, we're WorkCamperNews. Our website is workcamper.com. You can also find us on Facebook and Instagram and all the things. We're out there and we want to help you guys. So we look forward to having you come in as members and enjoy the different work camping opportunities that are out there. So, all right, thanks so much, and we wish you safe travels and happy work camping, everybody.